What I do for Joyce is get her out of bed in the morning, help her go to the bathroom.
People, we are immediately plunged into the grim reality of Joyce's existence. The bathing ritual is a full-blown production of human misery. Her caregiver, Dawn, is tasked with the humiliating job of washing her in sections, even using a hairdryer to prevent mold from growing in her skin folds. This is a woman so imprisoned by her own body that basic hygiene is a life-threatening logistical nightmare. The sheer indignity of it, the constant threat of infection from her own flesh, is beyond comprehension.
When I was 8, my mom and stepdad left my stepbrother to babysit me. I went to sleep and I woke up with him sitting on my bed and he was rubbing my back. And that is the initial memory that I had for years upon years upon years.
At age 8, Joyce was allegedly abused by her stepbrother. The memories, she says, were suppressed for years, only to resurface in terrifying nightmares. When she finally confessed this horror to her mother, the reaction was nothing. A dismissal. Can you imagine the profound sense of abandonment? First, her mother ships her off to live with her grandma, and then, when confronted with a deep trauma, she offers no comfort, no justice. This sad backstory is a blueprint for how a person learns to use food as their only shield against a world of pain and betrayal.
I can start the lasagna.
I know my family and Dawn are all worried about me too. And they don't think I'm gonna make it much longer. But just like me, they keep doing what they've been doing and help me eat the stuff I'm not supposed to have now.
Folks, let's talk about the enablers. Joyce's mother shows up with what looks like an entire mountain of food. Then, she has the audacity to sit there, seething with anger and judgment as Joyce devours it. This is the toxic circus in its purest form. She provides the poison and then gets mad when Joyce drinks it. The mother confesses she lives in constant fear that Joyce will die, yet she actively participates in the very act that is killing her. This is sabotage on a silver platter.
The good news is you don't sound like you're in any sort of restaurant failure right now. Any other issues bothering you?
Yeah, I'm a little hungry. I didn't eat all day.
Well, don't worry. You have eaten the food that belongs the next 3 years ahead of time, okay?
Doctor now enters the scene, and you can feel the air snap. It's nuclear. Joyce, fresh off a grueling 12-hour transport, immediately complains that she hasn't eaten all day. His response is legendary. He tells her she's consumed enough food to last for the next 3 years. This isn't a medical consultation, but a verbal demolition. He slices straight through her self-pity with the cold, hard steel of reality. He is the only person in her orbit willing to hold up a mirror to her delusions. This is tough love at its rawest, and frankly, it's what she desperately needs.
You're still not doing everything you need with physical therapy. Why is that?
I really am trying, but my breathing is still a struggle. And sometimes with physical therapy, it gets a little,
Get short-winded?
Here we go, the first act of defiance. Joyce is in the hospital, a completely controlled environment, and she's already resisting. Doctor now confronts her for not cooperating with physical therapy. Her excuse? She claims she's having trouble breathing. He points out the obvious. Losing weight will help her breathe, but she digs in, insisting she's trying. This is addiction in action, live. The excuses, the refusal to accept that recovery requires effort and discomfort. She wants the magic pill without any of the work, and the pattern of self-sabotage is already crystal clear.
Kidding yourself. And you're not gonna live much longer like
I'm sorry, I can't do this. And I don't think I'm gonna be able to make it back in the taxi like I did. The car ride was too much for me, and I think I need to go to the hospital. I mean, I just don't have the ability to walk.
This is a masterclass in manipulation. After a weigh-in reveals she's gained a staggering 58 pounds, Joyce puts on an Emmy-worthy performance. She claims she feels dizzy, that she's having a heart attack. Her body is supposedly failing right on cue. It's a transparent attempt to evade accountability for her disastrous failure and to manipulate her way into a hospital admission, likely for a free ride home. This is not a cry for help, but weaponized helplessness. She is playing the conductor of the pity orchestra, and it's a deeply cynical and calculated move.
I'm feeling quite a bit better now that I'm laying down.
Well, as you know, all your tests are looking good.
Are they?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you're not having a heart attack or dying.
Doctor Now, having seen through her charade, unleashes the nuclear option. He confronts her in the hospital bed, confirming that all her tests were normal. He calls her out directly for her lies and manipulative behavior. The ultimatum is brutal and necessary. She must start therapy, and she has 1 month to lose 50 pounds on her own without medical transport. This is the moment the safety net is yanked away. He's telling her in clear terms that the games are over. Either she takes responsibility for her life or she will be left to face the consequences alone, period.
And so opt out of that. Take that out of the way you two communicate with each other. So Joyce, I know that you've shared feeling very alone and isolated as a child.
And here we have the fumbled opportunity for a breakthrough. In therapy with her mother, Joyce has the perfect stage to confront the deep-seated abandonment and trauma that fuels her addiction. But what does she do? She chickens out. She claims they have a new beginning and that she needs her mother's help now so she won't rock the boat. Lola, the therapist, sees it clearly. Joyce is actively choosing to avoid the painful, necessary work. This is a strategic retreat back into denial, proving she is nowhere near ready to heal.
Still not walking like you need and making progress with your activity. And on top of that, in the last 3 months, you gained another 12 pounds. Instead of losing any weight, much less the 150 pounds you should have.
The tragic conclusion. 3 months later, Joyce returns, having gained another 12 pounds. The scale doesn't lie, but Joyce does, immediately blaming the machine. Dr. Now has had enough. He lays down the final verdict. She's had a year, she's shown no progress, and it's obvious she doesn't want to change. He officially drops her from the program. Her final act? Insisting she's done everything right and that the program failed her. A complete and utter wasted opportunity, sealed by her unshakable wall of delusion. Some people simply cannot be saved from themselves.
Forcing myself to start each day is just miserable because I've gotten so big. My body feels like I'm in a prison. I'm just trapped.
It's torture every day.
Folks, we are barely a few minutes into this journey, and already my jaw is on the floor. Rena describes her life as miserable, trapped, and torture every day. You watch them just existing, and it's despair dressed up as routine. She's struggling to breathe, literally suffocating under the weight of her own body, and yet her first thought is to care for Lee, who can't do anything for himself anymore.
My mom would have these hallucinations that would lead to these fits. One time
I was around 9 or 10 probably one night when I woke up to my mom screaming about my dad's face bleeding.
Now, let's rewind to Rena's backstory. People, a childhood soaked in chaos, her mother's terrifying hallucinations, those screaming fits about bleeding faces. How does a child process that kind of trauma? For Rena, food became her shield, her sedative, her everything. Then, the ultimate betrayal. Her mother abandons the family, blaming Rena, calling her a bad kid. This trauma reveal hits hard. It's a clinical explanation for deep-seated pain, painting a picture of how food addiction became a twisted coping mechanism.
Renee has done an excellent job of taking care of Lee, but within the last 2 to 3 years, she has went downhill so much that I have to do it.
You know, the external environment is just as critical as internal demons. Here we have Lee admitting he lives for the next meal, constantly hungry. And then there's Cassie, Lee's sister, complicit in this toxic dance. She knows what they're eating is wrong, but she enables it because she fears they're upset. This isn't love. It's sabotage on a silver platter. They're like spectators feeding lions at a zoo, pretending it's care. The road to recovery demands a complete dismantle of this toxic circus, and it starts with cutting off the supply.
All right, Lee, you are 714 pounds, and Renee, you are 549 pounds. And you both have significant health issues as a result of your weight.
Enter Dr. Naziruddin, the truth teller. He slices straight through the denial, laying out the brutal reality for Lee, weighing 714 pounds, and Rena at 549. Rena, a diabetic on enormous insulin. Lee, on oxygen with a laundry list of life-threatening conditions. Dr. Now's assessment is cold. Hard fact, they are very bad place, close to death, and enabling each other for years. He's a one-man demolition crew, tearing down denial brick by brick. His words are a seismic shock, a desperate plea to wake up before the clock runs out.
When you left the hospital, you were down to 546, so you lost only 9 pounds since then. But Renee has lost almost 50 pounds at the same time, and she hasn't even had her bypass yet.
Fresh off his gastric bypass, Lee has lost a measly 9 pounds in 2 months after leaving the hospital. Dr. Now is incandescent with frustration, and frankly, so am I. Lee's excuse? I guess I'm eating the wrong things. Guessing? This isn't a game of charades. This is life and death. He actually says he doesn't understand what's happening, deflecting blame like it's a hot potato. This is addiction in action, live. The post-surgery denial, the excuses, the sheer unwillingness to confront the deep-seated issues that are still driving him to self-sabotage. Unbelievable.
Now you're playing this kind of game and you think that's okay? How in the
I
world
don't
did
see
somebody...
how I'm playing any game. I throw up constantly. I eat what I can keep down.
That's how it works.
Dr. Now, bless his heart, doesn't back down. He unleashes the hammer, calling out Lee for playing his cards right until he got the surgery. He exposes the truth. Lee's constant vomiting isn't a symptom of trying. It's the surgery forcing him to confront his bad choices. He's eating too much, and the bypass is doing its job by rejecting it. Dr. Now's frustration is visible, a righteous anger at Lee's self-destructive path. This is a necessary, unvarnished truth bomb designed to pierce through Lee's thick wall of denial.
Or to develop new and healthy coping skills. You have to learn how to walk away from unhealthy confrontation.
Now, this is where the real work begins. In therapy, the therapist drives home the gravity of domestic violence, explaining its progressive nature, from yelling to kicking to, terrifyingly, even death. Lee finally has his cathartic moment. He admits, "I see what I'm doing wrong," and offers a heartfelt apology to Rena. This is a massive emotional breakthrough, peeling back layers of anger fueled by his food withdrawal. Rena's response is powerful, a firm ultimatum. "If you ever touch me again, I am gone."
And that's total weight loss of 273 pounds.
Great.
And Renee, you're down to 306. And that is total weight loss of 243 pounds.
Folks, this is what we fight for. The final weigh-in delivers a much-needed triumph. Lee, once 714 pounds, is down to 441, a staggering 273-pound loss. And Rena, from 549, drops to 306, shedding an incredible 243 pounds. Dr. Now is very optimistic, and honestly, so am I. After the backslides and emotional battles, to see them hit these numbers is an earned reward. It's a testament to their perseverance and the hard work they put in to overcome not just their physical addiction, but their relational dysfunctions.
And that's big progress for me. And this time last year, I wouldn't even be able to try on clothes at a store.
It's very exciting to be able to try smaller things on, to be able to come in a regular store.
Rena, once imprisoned in her body, is now confidently trying on clothes in a regular store. She's starting to like the way she looks, a phrase that, after everything, is pure gold. By shedding pounds, they began shedding shame and finding self-worth. She talks about loving getting ready for the day, something unthinkable before. This is the hopeful beginning, the new lease on life they fought so desperately for. Their world, Lee's world, their relationship, all changed for the better. The journey continues, but the chains are broken.
I am absolutely trapped in this body. I've let myself get way out of control, and I feel like I'm dying every day. I can't even move without help.
People, we are barely a minute and a half in, and Pauline's situation is laid bare. She's suffocating, unable to move without assistance, describing her daily existence as dying. The indignity of relying on her niece for basic hygiene is crushing. Her biggest wish? To simply get in a shower, get dressed, and walk out. It's a fundamental human freedom denied by her own choices, a devastating cry for salvation from a life that is no longer hers to control.
We went hungry a lot. The feelings that came with being hungry was helpless, feeling like there's nowhere you can get food, like you could search every cupboard and they were all empty.
Now, let's talk about the origin story. Pauline's childhood was scarred by genuine starvation after her parents' divorce. Cupboards were bare, the helplessness, the constant hunger, it welded itself into her psyche. When food finally became plentiful, her young mind responded with compulsive eating, sneaking snacks, fearing a return to scarcity. By 17, she was nearly 300 pounds. That initial trauma became the root of her profound food addiction, setting a devastating course for a life where food became her only perceived safety.
She can't fit in the car that good. It's just easier for her to get in the chair and for me to just go in the car.
You have tamales today? Okay, good. 4 pork, please.
I enjoy everything about food.
Here's where the toxicity bubbles to the surface. Dylan, Pauline's son, her full-time caregiver. He's driving her to get more food, watching her dictate exactly how to pick the fresher foods. Pauline admits food is one of her activities and the biggest highlight of her day. This isn't Dylan being a compassionate son, it's the insidious web of codependency. She's trapped, but so is he, forced into a role that stifles his own life. This cycle is sabotage on a silver platter, masquerading as love.
You already know the solution, you already know the answer, you already know the problem, but you have no control over it. Pauline doesn't see her own responsibility in her current situation.
Enter Dr. Now. He cuts through Pauline's flimsy excuses like a surgeon's scalpel. He highlights her complete lack of self-awareness and accountability for her choices. You already know the solution. You already know the problem, he states, pointing out her deep-seated compulsive eating. He issues a stark warning. Without tackling this, surgery is useless. His tone is severe, yet it's the cold, hard truth. A zero-carb diet, 50 pounds lost in 2 months, or face dire consequences. Dr. Now is the voice of reason in a chaotic, self-made prison, period.
I can't believe that I gained a couple of pounds. I've had a few things not good for your diet, but I certainly don't feel like I've overeaten.
Right, how's everything going?
Just been feeling kind of nauseous, dizzy.
At her follow-up, after 2 months, Pauline has gained 4 pounds, now 677. Her excuse? Water retention, stomach hurts. She claims she hasn't overeaten. Dr. Now's frustration boils over as he strips away her flimsy justifications, highlighting the immediate need for a controlled environment. He admits her to the hospital on a monitored diet, a necessary intervention against her blatant self-sabotage. Pauline's immediate thought? That Dr. Now is overreacting. Unbelievable.
Okay, we gotta be slow with you.
Take a while.
All right, here comes the tear again.
I know, because you can't expect it that fast out of me.
You're gonna be mobile and you're gonna get up and move.
Oh, later, way later.
Dr. Now is pushing Pauline, just 5 days post-op, to walk, explaining the life-threatening risk of blood clots. Her response? Excuses, complaining about pain, claiming he expects too much too fast. Then, the crocodile tears. Dr. Now pinpoints the manipulative tactic, and he's tired. This isn't genuine pain demanding empathy, it's weaponized sadness, playing conductor of the pity orchestra, trying to deflect responsibility from her refusal to comply with life-saving instructions.
This is really disappointing. She only has gotten up to walk once, so she's prone to develop blood clot, which can migrate to the lung, and that can be a fatal condition.
The situation is dire, folks. Pauline's stubborn refusal to move post-surgery forces Dr. Now to take extreme measures, surgically inserting a filter in her leg to prevent a fatal blood clot. He reiterates that she is a very self-destructive person who doesn't seem to want to change. This isn't merely a medical procedure, it's proof of her active resistance. Even with death knocking at the door, she's incapable of prioritizing her own survival. This is her forcing Dr. Now's hand by her unwavering commitment to self-sabotage.
Right now.
And get you out.
No, I'm not doing it right now.
This is not a picking and choosing thing. Pauline has been in the hospital for a couple months, but she still is a very difficult patient.
After finally being approved to go home, Pauline is still an extremely difficult patient. She refuses to cooperate with Dr. Now and the team and throws a tantrum when Dr. Now wants to get her weighed, saying she's not dressed yet. Dr. Now, however, is deeply concerned she will roll back most of the gains they've made over the past few months. This moment of supposed triumph is immediately clouded by her continued denial of responsibility, clinging to the illusion of control while simultaneously being blind to her own patterns of self-destruction.
At this time, there is not much more I can do for Pauline. She's not walking when she should be. Pauline goes out, but she stays in motorized wheelchair. That's not being active.
And here we are, folks, at the tragic conclusion of Pauline's story. Dr. Now's stark reality check. There is not much more I can do for Pauline. She's not walking. She's not eating healthy. She's lying. Pauline, meanwhile, is still convinced she's doing more and taking it at her own pace. The narrative concludes with Dr. Now's chilling prognosis. I am concerned she may not be able to live another year like this. The opportunity was wasted, the support system ignored. Some people, it seems, just aren't willing to be saved. Utterly, tragically outrageous.
When I wake up, I instantly feel pain all over my body. My weight puts pressure on me, makes my back hurt. My legs swell, and it's a constant battle to catch my breath.
Folks, we're launched directly into Gideon's personal hell. Waking up is an immediate dive into pain, his body a 600-pound prison. The simple act of showering is a high-stakes balancing act where a fall could mean utter humiliation. You see the sheer mechanics of his existence, using deodorant between fat rolls, layering 3 shirts just to absorb sweat and hide his body. He feels disgusting, a sentiment that drips from every pained movement. This is a desperate SOS from a man drowning on dry land, suffocating under the weight of his own despair.
When my parents got divorced, I was about 8 years old. That definitely is when I think everything kind of went downhill for me, emotionally.
Now, let's peel back the layers to the root of this pain. A childhood ripped apart by divorce at age 8. A devastating custody battle where he was forced to choose between parents. A stepmother who couldn't stand him, shipping him off to fat camps and subjecting him to constant ridicule. Food became his only comfort, his only source of calm in a storm of emotional chaos. This isn't just a backstory, but a clinical diagnosis of a wound that never healed, where every calorie became a shield against a world that felt hostile and loveless.
I just want to shake him and just scream at him. Why are you doing this? Why can't you change? Don't you want better for yourself? Don't you want better for me and Jonathan?
On the way to a family cookout, an event centered around food by the way, Gideon stops for donuts, 2 apple fritters, 2 chocolate long johns, and a mixed dozen. His wife, Kaylee, is a portrait of quiet desperation, watching this unfold. Her frustration is a silent scream in the car as she laments his slow-motion suicide. This is the web of codependency in action, her helplessness feeding his addiction fueling her despair. It's a toxic, heartbreaking cycle.
You're 650 pounds. Tell me how your weight has climbed this high.
Well, I'm obese. That's the biggest problem.
Okay, so what do you think is the cause of that?
A history, a whole life of bad eating habits.
Dr. Now enters and the air immediately changes. The weigh-in shock, 650 pounds. Gideon tries to downplay his eating, calling a meal of 2 hamburgers and 3 cookies small. Kaylee makes excuses about working late. Dr. Now is having none of it. He slices through their flimsy justifications, pointing out that they both know what healthy eating is, but refuse to make the change. He is the voice of truth in a room thick with denial, laying down the law, a strict diet, and a 50-pound weight loss goal.
I'm more nervous this time than the first time because now I have a goal I need to hit. This one is pass-fail and will determine if I get the surgery or not, and I have to get approved today.
Gideon returns for his follow-up, having lost 30 pounds, a respectable number, but a full 20 pounds short of Dr. Now's goal. The disappointment on his face is real. Dr. Now, concerned about his deteriorating health, denies him surgery. But this isn't a final judgment, it's a strategic move. He sends Gideon to the hospital for a week of monitoring. This failure becomes a crucial test, a moment of realization where Gideon must prove his commitment not with words, but with action under direct supervision. It's his last chance to show he's serious.
I am really worried about Gideon right now. Once he got the surgery, his goal was to get a job and start helping more around the house. And he's not doing that. He sleeps most of the day because he doesn't get up to eat all day.
Folks, this is the turning point. Post-surgery, Gideon sinks into a deep depression, sleeping all day, devoid of energy. Kaylee, at her wit's end, is ready to leave. Dr. Now diagnoses the problem perfectly. It's the loss of his coping mechanism. Food is gone, so he's shutting down. The tough love here isn't a shouting match, it's Dr. Now's clinical advice to seek therapy. This pushes Gideon to finally confront his trauma, transforming his lethargy into action. It's the moment he stops being a passive victim of his circumstances and starts actively fighting for his life and his family.
Today goes amazingly well. What will be the end result?
Figuring out why I turned to food, because I've lived my whole life being, the fat guy, I've had what I would consider to be a very hectic, childhood, adolescent.
In therapy, Gideon finally confronts the demons he's been burying for years. The immense, soul-crushing guilt over his parents' deaths, particularly his father's, which he feels he could have prevented. The pain is raw. The tears are real. You see Kaylee's heartbreak as she learns the true depth of his suffering. This isn't a performance. It's a genuine catharsis. He's finally feeling the grief without the anesthetic of food. And in that vulnerability, the real healing begins.
Thank you, sir.
I've stayed on track and finally made it below 500 pounds. That's such a great feeling. I'm pretty excited to go out and not feel embarrassed or undeserving to be with Kaylee.
I'm loving the changes that I'm seeing in Gideon.
And look at this. Gideon has not only found his energy, but has channeled it into rebuilding his life. He's working out, he's active, and he's finally dropped below 500 pounds. The pride is radiating off him. We see him taking Kaylee out, a simple act that was impossible before. You can feel the resentment melting away, replaced by genuine connection and hope. This is a hard-won victory lap, a proof of his incredible internal transformation. This is what true progress looks like.
I like spending time with my dad. He's more active and he can play with me a lot more.
Let's go laser. I'm not that guy that I used to be. I'm changing, my body's changing, my mind is changing, my confidence is changing.
This is the hopeful beginning we were all praying for. Look at him, playing laser tag with his family, laughing, being an active and present father. The fat guy he hated is disappearing, replaced by a man filled with confidence and purpose. He has a goal weight of 220 pounds and feels capable of doing anything. His life, which was once a bleak landscape of pain and isolation, is now a dream unfolding. This is the inspiring moral of the story. No matter how deep the despair, change is always possible. A new lease on life, and honestly, it's about time.